What's up, guys? Becca Me is here. We got Smallville, Season 6, Episode 1, Zod. Okay, so this episode starts off with Clark, and he's like in this like crystal thing, and then he like touches it and falls all the way down. And yeah, so yeah. So he's just like walking around, wondering where he is in like the snowy place when these like creatures attack him, and then this lady, she like yeah, she she kicks Clark in the face. She stops him and then she kicks Clark in the face and she said, "Welcome to the Phantom Zone." And the Phantom Zone was also where Supergirl was trapped in on Arrow versus Supergirl. So yeah. Yeah. So, 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 yeah. And, so, yeah. And then we get to Metropolis and it's all destroyed. Everyone's still rioting. Everyone's still, like, rioting. And then we see Lana and she's like, hey, you could use your powers to stop it. And he's like, why would I do that? And he's like, you could use your powers because I'm already doing the race is because you're Lex Luthor. He's like, Lex Luthor is dead. I'm Zod, and just flies Lana up there with Marth with 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 like with like with like Chloe and Lionel skiing, and they think that and Lionel thinks that Clark didn't get enough to Lex in time to kill Lex. But this whole thing is kind of Clark's fault because and yeah, yeah. So Clark's in the fan zone, and when he comes to the lady's like, "Who are you?" and she's like, "I'm Kal from Krypton. I was born on Earth." And he's like, and she's like, "Kal El," and he's like, "How do you know?" And she's like, I'm your father's assistant, Raya, and I used to work with your father. Her name is Raya, and yeah, and she gives him this thing, and she said that trust. He says that trust could get you killed in the Phantoms. So, so yeah, so back. Lois and Martha, they were on the plane last season, and they like just and they crashed somehow. And where they crashed was where Martha discovers is the Fortress of Solitude. So yeah, so she talks to Jor-El and she's like, why did you bring us here? And he's like, I did not bring you here. It was a Milton. It was the brain active construct, or you would know as Milton Fine. And he's like, where's? And he's like, where's Clark? And he's like, I told him kill, to kill Zod the vessel, but he didn't. And 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 he's like, where is he? And he's like, he's been trapped in he's been banished in the Phantom Zone. And he's like, and she's like, no, I first lost my husband. I'm not gonna lose my son. You gotta bring him back. And he's like, this is all on Clark's choice now. And, yeah. And he's like, yeah. And he's like, use this to kill Zod's vessel, Lex. And she's like, you want me to murder Lex? Yeah. So, so yeah. So yeah. So Chloe, So yeah, so Lionel, he went to talk to, he went to talk to, well, yeah, Lionel, yeah, so, so Lionel, Lionel's like connection with Jorella's gone. Yeah, so she'd have to daily plan it. When someone comes in, she almost shoots him, and she's like, and he's like, hey, I just work here, and she's like, and she's like, and he's like, I just came for work, and she's like, Jimmy Olsen. Yeah, Jimmy Olsen is finally in the show. He's played by the actor who, the real life brother of the actor who played Eric Summers. That's why he looks so similar to Eric Summers. And yeah, because they're real life brothers in real life. So yeah, and then yeah, things start shaking around them. Lex takes Alana to Lana. Zod takes Alana to one, and he keeps saying about so about how he wants to turn Earth into new Krypton, and how and Nameek and Arthur from last season's first episode were just disciples, and yeah. So so one so he goes to me and he like gives his advice, and yeah. So yeah. So then they get into a fight, and he drives a sword to Lana's hand, and she's able to pull it out, and she with Martha and Lionel, and she's like, Lex isn't on himself. I didn't believe Clark before, but now I do, and and you're not gonna be able to get close to use that thing on him. And she tries to, but he sees all that coming, and Lana goes. She tries to pretend that she's in love with him to do it, but then, but then he sees right through it and breaks the sword. So back in the Phantom Zone, Raya, Raya and Clark are like, when they get trapped by Nameek and Arthur, and she says, "Oh yeah, I brought him." And he's like, I trusted you, Ryan. And he's like, trust is weak. And he's like, yeah. And and then he attacked, and then she attacks them, and she's like, go, Clark. And then she gets stabbed, and we don't know if she's dead or not. And then yeah, and also the Phantom things they go through, and then yeah, Clark, like these like four things crashing, and we see Clark crash down. So do you think that the Phantoms are there? I don't know. And yeah, so Clark go. So yeah, Clark goes, and he fights with he fights with Zod. He fights Zod and fights with Zod, and Zod beats Zod in Lex's body, beats him around a bit, but then Clark is but then Zod's like, kneel before Zod, and Clark does it, but then he tricks Zod by putting his hand together, which releases Zod from Lex's body, and yeah, the Zod that we see is actually the one played by Trent, that the voice actor plays Jarrell, and Zod leaves like spot. So he goes to the hospital. He's like, Lana, what's up? And she's like, you don't. He fills. She fills him in on everything that happened. So yeah. So Clark goes to the dinner plan where they talk about the kiss that happened. Then Clark meets Jimmy Olsen, and he's it's James Olsen, and she's like, since when? He's like, since now ish, and yeah. So 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 yeah. And, and then they all reunite, and Clark says, Jor won't talk to me, the fortress is dead. And he also talks to Lois, and Lois, she went to heaven because of the whole fortress thing. And yeah. so then we see like Lionel keeps writing down. Martha says how Lionel's connection with the fortress is gone, but then we see Lionel writing down power. But then we see Lex hold stone. So then at the end of the episode, we see one of the Phantoms come, and that's how the episode ends. This was a pretty good episode. Really enjoyed it. I'm glad we got to finally see Jimmy Olsen first time, and yeah, we got to see Jimmy Olsen for the first time, and yeah, the Phantom Zone. That's what Car was trapped in. Well, that's what Car in this Arrowverse. That's where she was trapped in. While Clark became Superman. I don't think it's she's. I think that's only the Arrowverse version. But yeah. So yeah, Riot, is she dead? I don't think so. She was stabbed, but I don't think she's dead. They wouldn't just kill off a one episode character. So yeah. So like, comment, subscribe, because have a wonderful day. I'll see you next Smallville.